Every woman with a narcissist in her life has a moment in December where her entire body tightens before her mind even catches up. It's the moment she's reaching for the laundry basket or stirring something on the stove or buckling her child into the car seat and her nervous system whispers, "I cannot do this again." Not because she's dramatic or overly sensitive, December creates the exact conditions a narcissist thrives in. Pressure, performance, expectations, image, obligation, family politics. It's emotional landmines disguised as celebration. The holidays do not soften narcissists, they activate them. They become more theatrical, more controlling, more unpredictable. They punish you more quietly and perform more loudly. They thrive on the contrast, the chaos they create in private, and the praise they harvest in public. They always use the season as a weapon wrapped in sentiment. And if you have ever felt like December turns into a psychological obstacle course where you cannot relax, breathe, or let your guard down, you are not crazy, you are not imagining it. You're living in the crossfire of someone who turns holiday traditions into emotional warfare. This episode is going to help you dismantle every single tactic you've been conditioned to tolerate. I'm Megan Webster, an abuse recovery coach, a trauma-informed strategist, and the woman a narcissist hopes to never meet twice. This is the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast, where women stop minimizing their experiences, internalizing blame, and letting someone else's dysfunction dictate their emotional landscape. This episode is for the woman still inside the relationship trying to hold her home together with emotional duct tape. It's for the woman who left, but December still pokes at old wounds she thought she had healed from. It's for the woman navigating co-parenting with someone who treats shared custody like a playground for control. And this is also for the woman who feels like the world expects her to be festive when her body is quietly bracing for impact. Your anxiety spikes in December. The holidays feel heavier, darker, sharper. Why you dread things other people look forward to, and none of that makes you weak, it makes you aware. Your body always knew the truth even before your mind was ready to accept it. This is also why I created the Holiday Health Safety Protocol, a 30-day tactical program for women living in, leaving, or recovering from narcissistic abuse during the holidays. December is not just stressful, it's dangerous. It's unpredictable. It's an emotional tinderbox, and you deserve support, strategy, and safety before the fuse is lit. So why do the holidays make narcissists worse? The holidays are a stage, and narcissists are performers who never break character. They crave validation. They need admiration the same way that healthy people need connection. And holiday gatherings give them what they want the most, an audience. They love orchestrating the image of the perfect partner or the perfect parent. They love being praised for basic human decency. They love the performative affection, the forced charm, the public displays of warmth that will never be replicated at home. But the moment the performance becomes inconvenient or the spotlight shifts away from them, their instability spikes. The holidays disrupt their routine, which means your emotional stability becomes collateral damage. Any shift in schedule, any expectation they didn't create, any moment that wasn't centered around them becomes a threat. One of my clients told me her ex ruined every December 23rd like it was his own tradition. He would scream over nothing, disappear for hours, and then return moments before a family gathering acting calm, composed, and affectionate. She would arrive to the dinner shaky, puffy-eyed, while he's out there charming, being the charismatic partner who always made things better. The family would look at her and see emotional exhaustion. They would look at him and see someone that seemed stable. She would spend the entire evening swallowing her reality so no one would accuse her of being dramatic. That is not stress, miscommunication, or holiday tension. That is psychological destabilization disguised as seasonal chaos. During the holidays, narcissists use a predictable set of tactics, not because they're smart, but because manipulation is the only emotional language that they speak. They use image management, polishing their public persona while withholding affection, warmth, or communication at home. They use financial manipulation, controlling budgets, gifts, or plans so you feel in debt or guilty. Triangulation, slipping subtle comments that paint you as a cold, ungrateful, dramatic, or difficult person. They create pre-event sabotage, triggering fights the moment you're about to walk out the door, because controlling your emotional state means controlling the narrative that you bring to the room. And when children are in the picture, the manipulation sharpens. Narcissists overpromise gifts to seem like the fun parent, undermine your boundaries to make themselves look easier to love, and use the child's excitement as a supply to their ego. None of this is accidental, and none of this is by coincidence. The holiday season becomes their playground, and you become their favorite target. One of the biggest lessons that I learned in my sobriety was acceptance as a strategy, not as a surrender moment. Acceptance is not defeat, it's actually freedom. It's where your nervous system stops waiting for someone to become who they have never been. It's the moment you stop negotiating the fantasy and start playing around reality. You stop telling yourself maybe this year will be different, and you start saying he is who he is and I get to protect myself. You stop hoping for emotional maturity from someone who weaponizes your emotions. You stop expecting warmth from someone whose empathy is selective, and you stop trying to collaborate with someone who only knows control. Acceptance expands you. It will give you your energy and your power back, as well as sharpen your strategy. This is why holiday hell exists. Acceptance with a safety plan makes you untouchable. Now, co-parenting with a narcissist during the holidays is impossible because co-parenting requires collaboration, emotional maturity, and accountability. 3 things that a narcissist fundamentally lacks. What you are doing is parallel parenting, protecting your home's emotional climate by removing yourself from their emotional volatility. This is structure, not negotiation. Boundaries, not emotional labor. A clear-minded heart without conflict, and this is your leadership, not appeasement. This is where the range method becomes essential. This is something that I teach inside of all of my coaching spaces. The gray rock method is risky for many women because the neutrality can actually trigger narcissistic rage. The range method is not silence. It's actually somatic authority. It's the way your voice stays steady. It's the way that your breathing stays slow, and the way that your statements stay factual and short that seem polite and respectful to the narcissist. And the range method goes undetected while keeping you grounded because they no longer have access to your nervous system. The only way to stop a narcissist is to take away power and control. And the only way that you can actually do that is if you remove yourself fully, starting with your nervous system. Parallel parenting isn't about doing everything alone. It's about refusing to be emotionally puppeted by someone who thrives in chaos. And your children don't just observe your emotions, they absorb them. Your nervous system becomes their blueprint. If you are bracing, so are they. If you are scanning the room, so are they. If you are afraid, so are they. Regulation becomes part of the holiday plan because when your body stays grounded, your child experiences safety even when the environment shifts. I always suggest doing small rituals with your kids when you are a parallel parent, grounding moments before transitions, quiet routines after drop-off, predictable nighttime rhythms. These become emotional anchors that teach your child, you are safe with me. And holiday hell is going to teach you how to create these emotional microenvironments so your child grows resilient instead of reactive. There is a specific kind of silence that hits the first Christmas after you've left abuse. It's not peace at first. It's the kind of quiet that forces you to see everything you've been suppressing to rise to the surface. It's the moment where you're sitting in your living room, the lights on, the tree glowing softer than it used to, and your body suddenly realizes that you are not bracing anymore. And for the woman who's lived in chaos, stillness can still feel like a threat. Silence can feel like abandonment. Calm can feel like a withdrawal. Your nervous system does not know the difference between there's no danger and something is about to go wrong. A lot of my clients have shared that being alone for the holidays can actually crack you open in ways that it didn't expect. The grief hits. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's nostalgia. The hope you held. The fantasy of what you wanted this to be. And the pain of what this actually is will land home. You'll feel the loneliness of what you survived and the loneliness of what you're stepping into. Both ache in a different way. You're grieving the life you thought you were supposed to have, even if it was killing you. And the truth that nobody wants to talk about, the loneliness is not punishment. It's the moment your nervous system actually begins to detox from somebody else's emotional damage. It's where your body realizes it doesn't have to react to someone else's tone, footsteps, silence, or breathing. Where you get to ask yourself, maybe for the first time in your entire adult life, what do I need right now? This is going to feel uncomfortable. You will feel restless. You will have the urge to distract yourself and the temptation to reach out for familiar pain because it's easier than sitting in unfamiliar peace. I want you to think about things like peace and safety and self-connection as a muscle, and this is where you get to start rebuilding them. So if you are alone for the holidays or part of the holidays, please do not fill that space with noise. Fill it with things that are going to bring you back to yourself. Slow mornings, music, cooking something simple that you love, letting the sunlight hit your face, going for a walk, writing out your feelings without censoring them, taking walks where your breath finally slows down, and sitting with the emotions without someone else weaponizing them to you. This is the rebuilding part of the process, not with a new relationship, not with a new chapter or new year, but with you learning how to inhabit your own life again without fear. And Holiday Hell supports this stage because loneliness needs structure and connection just as much as chaos did. Without structure, your mind wanders back to the fantasy, but with support, you begin rebuilding a life that is quiet but not empty, peaceful but not lonely, and finally yours fully. I want you to know that a holiday safety plan is not dramatic, it is not overreacting, and it is not optional if you are dealing with someone who becomes more volatile when holidays or December hits. A safety plan is a strategy, and the strategy is the opposite of chaos. You will need emotional safety, grounding techniques that you can access instantly, somatic cues that can regulate your breathing, scripts that remove you from the conflict loop instead of dragging you deeper into them, understanding the moments where your body is most at risk for dysregulation. You need practical safety, communication boundaries, digital boundaries, predictability around handoffs, secure documentation, backup plans for escalation, a communication rhythm that keeps you in control of the pace instead of reacting to every message that comes through your phone. And you will also need relational safety, knowing which conversations are traps, which holiday favors are manipulation disguised as generosity, which situations escalate their ego, what boundaries need to be non-negotiable no matter how much guilt they try to weaponize. Your safety plan is not built on fear. It's acknowledging that December will trigger different patterns, and their patterns are consistent. Narcissists do not become better humans because a calendar says it's time to drink hot cocoa and hug your family. They become more unpredictable because the season gives them access to attention, opportunities for image maintenance, and more ways to destabilize you. Your safety plan is you saying, I am ahead of this year. I know exactly what to do, and I refuse to let you wreck another holiday. This is your power. Walking into December without a plan is like walking into a storm with no shelter. December with a plan is the moment your nervous system finally feels like it can breathe again. There was a December where I could feel myself breaking in real time, not because I was fragile, but because I had spent years performing emotional CPR on someone who didn't even want to breathe on their own. I was exhausted trying to manage someone else whose emotional temperature changed by the hour. I was holding the weight of my son's stability in my hands, also trying to hold myself up. I remember standing alone in my kitchen staring at the turkey dinner that I just made, and I thought, I can't fucking do this anymore. I looked around my house, the dishes in the sink, the decorations I didn't have the energy to put up, the toys on the floor, the dog that needed to be let out, and the silence that felt too big for me. And I realized that I had been hoping for December would be the magical turning point to bring me peace. I'd been waiting on him to behave differently. I had been hoping for the emotional landmines to disappear. That was the night that I stopped waiting, stopped overdoing, and I stopped managing. I decided to do special things with Hunter. We went for snow walks, spent time on FaceTime with my dad, with my godkids. We baked some Christmas treats. It felt like I had unplugged the cord that was tying all of this together. The autonomy that I felt because he could care less about making something special or spending time. If we were busy, he could do what he wanted and he didn't have to parent, right? So for me, it wasn't a grand gesture. There was no big conversation or fallout. I simply removed my energy from the mix, which is what they feed off of. I didn't ask him to do anything, so he kind of left me alone. And slowly, day by day, breath by breath, the holiday stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling more like a possibility, like I could actually enjoy the time and not engage. My biggest hope that anyone who is dealing with abuse or a narcissist right now knows they don't have to do it alone. Your body, your home, your kids deserves to feel like it is safe. And you are allowed to choose quiet and stability. In order to have those things, need boundaries that protect your peace, even when no one understands why. If this episode cracks something open in you, good. That means your body is done surviving December and ready to reclaim the holidays as yours. This is the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast, where you stop shrinking for somebody else's comfort and start expanding into a life that finally feels like home again. If you are still inside the relationship, trying to leave, or rebuilding your life after, you do not get to walk into December again without protection. Inside, we have a coaching call to kick us off where we will start building your safety plan step by step. You get emotional regulation tools your nervous system can actually use, communication scripts that break the conflict loops instead of feeding them, co-regulation rituals to protect your child's emotional landscape, digital safety strategies, and practical boundaries inside of a private Telegram where you have direct access to me and other women for coaching, communication, and connection. If you join before December 1st, you get a bonus private call with me because your safety plan needs to match your exact situation, not somebody else's. It's $49 a month, no lock-in, no pressure. You do not have to be ready to leave the relationship. You just need to be ready to get safe. December is coming either way. This time you won't walk into it unprotected.